Hello friends, my name is Marina and this is Rapunzel Fiber Arts. I am here today in my studio, absolutely surrounded by wool and yarn, and I want to show you my stash and my organizational system and all that I have. I'm not going to go through and show you every single bag of fiber and skein of yarn because that would get a little bit long. I think that might be several hours long video, but if you really want to see that, let me know in the comments. But otherwise, we're just going to do kind of a cursory look through of my bins and my labeling system and my fleeces. So let's get to doing that. I'm going to set you up at a different angle so that you can actually see the fronts of the bins, and let's get to work. I think we're going to start on this side, so let's go. All right, friends, so starting over here, we've got my wall of dyed fiber, which I use for blending up Rolags. If you want more information about that, you can check out my Etsy shop. And then here we've got a bin full of finished Rolags. These are in my shop for sale. I've got a little bit of overflow in this bin. And then in the bin below that, we've got some works in progress knitting-wise. In here, we've got all of my add-ins for Rolags, so silk and sparkle, bamboo, and then some shipping supplies. And lots of bobbins, because I do lots of spinning. And then as we move over, we get into some of my fiber. So this is fleeces. We've got a white Romney, 2 BFL fleeces, Sassafras, who is a naturally colored brown, and Lily, who was white and is now dyed in pinks and blues. This bin is more fleeces, so we've got mohair, Romney BFL cross, Wensleydale, and some brown Targhee combing waste. This bin, I'll show you. This bin is full of, blending bats. So this is stuff that I can turn into bats at my leisure, but right now they're just bags of dyed top. A while ago, I got a bunch of fiber from a D-stash done by Frabjous Fibers. I think that they're up in Vermont. But I got a whole bunch of stuff. So this bin and then those 2 gray bins are all the same materials. They're all, I think I've called them pre-sorted bats on this bin. And all 3 of those, these 2 gray bins, as well as this purple bin, are all pre-sorted bats. So moving down, we've got some BFL. This is all fleeces. So I've got actually nothing prepped. This is BFL Border Leicester, which I have some combed in here, but most of it is just the fleece. And then a BFL Gotland named Blueberry. And then there's also a little bit more BFL Gotland from a sheep named Pippin, who are from the same farmer. And you can see this fleece right here is Blueberry's fleece. It's hard to tell, but it actually goes from dark brown or gray at the tip of the lock. And then as you go down to the base of the lock, it gets lighter and lighter. So it's a really cool gradient lock. Then here, this is some merino fleece. This is the first sheep's fleece I ever purchased, and I still haven't finished processing it. I spun and knit a shawl out of some of it, but I haven't actually finished that project. And then here, this is some Targhee X or a Targhee Cross, probably from Ranching Tradition Fiber. That's where I get most of my Targhee fleeces. And yeah, I've got like, I think a pound in here that I have to work through. And then this is a fin fleece named Pippi. You can see I had all three of these in a bin together. This was the label for it that I just pulled off and stuck on here so I wouldn't forget what anything was. But this is a fin fleece named Pippi, which was part of a spin a pound, get a pound trade. And then lastly, I've got a cross stitch project that I haven't really started, ironically, because it says something about procrastinating is like having side quests. And I've been procrastinating that cross stitch project for over a year now. But I have all the supplies in this bin, I just haven't done it. Alrighty, moving down, we've got some washed portions of fleeces. There's some alpaca in here. There's some merino in here. It's just stuff where I haven't finished washing the entire fleece, so I just have little parts that I sampled. Here, you can see this is how I try to label most of my bats. I keep the label that I got at the fleece show and make sure that it's visible in the bag. So I have all the information that I need from this fleece. I have the weight, I have the breed, I have some information about it, I have the staple length, some of the color, and all the information about the farm on a card here. So if you're interested in a fleece like this, that's the contact information. And then moving over, I've got some luxury fiber bins and samples. This is stuff like cashmere and angora and other fancy blends. And then moving down, here's my alpaca. You see I've got a note on there that I have to check my boyfriend's allergies because he might be allergic to alpaca. We have to determine that. This is a bin full of gorgeous naturally colored Polwarth in like 6 different colors, which I need to get to. I really do. I think that might be a project for this summer. And then this is all of my embroidery and cross-stitching supplies, which is much more compact than my spinning supplies. And then down here at the very bottom, this is a blanket project that I started, oh gosh, maybe at least 5 years ago. And I also have to check my boyfriend's allergies for this because it has alpaca in it and yak, as well as BFL and silk. It's really nice, and it made a really nice yarn, but I need to make sure that Alex isn't allergic to it. So that'll be something that needs to happen soon. And that's this wall of fiber. All right, friends. So this is kind of the disaster area, this corner between the bed and the shelves. I have a little bit more fiber than I really have room for on my 3 shelving units. So it's just turned into a pile because I'm not acquiring anything right now, but stuff takes up room, and until it's spun and knit into stuff, it's going to continue taking up room. So I'm just trying to work through this pile as quickly as I can so that I can reclaim this corner of the room. But I will still show you what I have here. So we already talked about these 2 bins. They have more pre-sorted bats, just like this purple bin. This here is a Targhee Suffolk fleece from Ranching Tradition Fiber named Rambo. And my plan with this, you can see I have made notes, is to try and figure out if it's going to be a good fleece for socks, because it'll be nice and elastic with that Targhee, and the Suffolk should make it nice and durable and should prevent some felting. So if I could make it fleece, or if I could make it socks, that would be pretty cool. But we'll have to determine, I'll have to do some sampling with that, and it's still completely unwashed, so there's lots of work left to be done there. So moving down, we're getting into some of my dyed fibers. So these two bins, this big one and this smaller one, are both purchased bats and Rolags. Some of my bins have this label on them. That just means that I've entered all of the individual items in there into a database called Airtable. I have not done that with my whole stash. I've just done it with my dyed fiber. I've also got 4 ounces of a Soe fleece. This is a really primitive breed of sheep. Kind of like, I think that they actually rue their fiber. They don't get shorn. So that's pretty cool. I've got some of that. And then this bin over here is bats and Rolags that I've made that are not in my shop. Moving down, we have dyed Polwarth, dyed BFL, and dyed blended luxury fibers. Beneath that, we get into some of the stuff that's kind of hard to access. I have some fleeces. I have some undyed wool roving down here. I've got a bunch of these bags. It's called black bag because they were originally in black bags, but everything, I have 5 of these big clear bags called black bag, and each of those has a whole bunch of undyed fiber, which I have entered into my database. Here we've got a Romney fleece. It's from Barbaric Farms. That's a local farm to me up in Massachusetts. And I really, really love their fiber. I think I have 4 fleeces from that farm. Unwashed. Still has a lot of work to be done. Here's a baby doll cross fleece. This is washed, and it's close on my to work on list. I haven't quite gotten there yet, but it's going to be one of the next projects I start, I think. This is just a basket or a bucket of sample stuff. This is a project I started and haven't finished yet. You can see I spun up a skein. Over here, this is some Targhee cross fiber that I'm trying to blend, but it's not working up the way I really want it to. It's a bit too neppy. So I might have to actually dispose of that. I don't know that I'm going to really be able to spin with it, which is frustrating because I got a lot of it. Then this here, this is a nice black Corriedale fleece that I have a pound of, which needs another couple rinses. There's still a little bit of lanolin in this fiber, which I need to get out before I start processing. So we've got some more dyed fiber bins. You can see I've got a lot of fiber in each of these, or a lot of different kinds of fiber. I tried to group them more or less by fiber type. So these are all fairly fine, springy fleeces. Down here we get into some coarser stuff. These 2 bins down here are both merino and merino blends. And then I've got another Romney cross fleece. I've got another BFL fleece. I've got another Barbaric Romney fleece. This is some of the Polwarth that I dyed 2 weeks ago on my big dye day. That needs to get put away into the Polwarth bin. And then this is some of my active works in progress. This is the fleece I'm currently spinning. There's only 1 bat left in there. So I need to card up some more. This is a sweater, which I think I have to frog. I don't think it's going to fit me, so I probably need to do that at some point. So that'll probably be a video as well. And then we get, that's my old teddy bear. This was my bedroom and is now a studio. And then here is kind of my processing and finished yarn shelves. So this bin is all Rolag samples. So this is all samples of Rolags that I have made that are not really fit for my shop at present. So they're just kind of hanging out there and might eventually get spun or might get put into like a grab bag for my shop. But at present, they're just kind of hanging out. And then this is 2 fleeces, one Romney named Zelda and one Romney named Trudy. Trudy was another barbaric Romney fleece. I really, really like that farm. This is all commercial yarn. It's just kind of odds and ends. I need to go through it and maybe get rid of some of it. And then up top in those bags, I have more spun fleeces. So like, this is a Romney cross named Pearl. This is more of Pearl. Oh, this is some Targhee. Some beautiful white Targhee cross, I think. Yeah, Targhee Rambouillet. You can see my tag there. I label every individual skein, so they all have tags. And I think this is some Romney cross. Yep, Romney cross. And then moving down, these are my kind of in progress bins. So I have this bin that needs to be plied, needs to be washed, needs to be skeined or reskeined, and needs to be labeled. So this is some stuff that we washed in an earlier video and still needs to have labels put on it, but is otherwise all done. And then we've got kind of some odds and ends. These are all lavender sachets. This is my Yarn Swift. Just odds and ends. And then we get into my hand spun. So this is my lace and fingering bin, Sport and DK. I have some tissue paper for when I pack orders. I have my second drum carder, worsted Aran bulky, and then fatter yarns than that. And then down here at the bottom, I've got all my commercial yarns, my commercial stock yarns, excuse me. This is a weaving project. It is a pin loom sample project that I have a whole bunch of samples of different types of wool that I'm making little squares of, and then I'm going to label and make into a big blanket. That's a sweater quantity of Madelinetosh, and this is other commercial yarns for the most part. There's a little bit of hand spun in here too. I think this is hand spun, but for the most part it is commercial. So over here, these 2 piles are 2 fleece projects that I'm working on. This is the Border Leicester fleece in purple and gray that I'm blending. And this is the Blue Face Leicester Gotland fleece that I am lock spinning. So you can see those gorgeous locks in there that I am just working up into yarn. And then this is my desk, which is a bit of a disaster. But above it, we've got a couple more goodies. So this box is all of my plastic yarn, which I make from plastic grocery bags, just the disposable ones. So I make bags out of yarn that I make from bags. This is some a sweater quantity of Created by LCB fiber in a colorway called Winter's Eve, which is like purples and grays. And then I've got a merino fleece, a BFL Border Leicester Wensleydale cross. This is my dye pot. And then I've got an alpaca fleece, and that's a Cormo Blueface Leicester Cross fleece. And that's my desk. That's my other drum carder with my drum carder stand. I just vacuumed, so the vacuum's out, and there's Bear snoozing. And that, friends, is my studio. All right, friends, so that's my studio. I think you probably noticed everything is either in these gasketed bins or in bags. That's to prevent moths from getting into any of my stash. I'm pretty careful about that because I really don't want moths eating my wool, oddly enough. But yeah, that's, I think, everything. And if you really want to see like close-ups of anything, comment below and let me know. Or if you want to see like a 3-hour-long video showing you everything in my stash, let me know that too. Otherwise, I hope that you have a great day. I hope you get some crafting in, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, friends.